Villarreal 2, Atletico Madrid 2. Alex Kirkland joins us from Madrid for the first time this season. We'll be hearing from Alex in a moment. But Ali, overall, you look at this game and you talk about lack of control. That pretty much epitomised the first half, wasn't it? It was all over the place.
Yes, and while we have spoken about Atletico Madrid and the decisions that they have made in the transfer market and the ambition that they have shown in the transfer market, one of the areas that perhaps they need to continue to address is defensively. While you have Robin Lenormand, you have other holes in that back line. You try to address that with Lenormand. Apparently, it's not enough. You still have Axel Witsel playing as a center back for you, and it doesn't quite work out. And it's not just a byproduct of today's match that I'm saying, hey, Axel Witsel shouldn't be your starting center back. We go back to last season, and we go back to the fact that Atletico Madrid, a team that historically we think of them as defensively very sound and very solid. That hasn't been the case for a while. And this is a team that is going to give up goals. They got in a back and forth, which we usually don't see from Atletico Madrid. Far more entertaining for us on the outside looking in. But if you're Diego Simeone and your whole life has been about control, at least your coaching career has been about control defensively, this team doesn't have that. And so therefore, they're going to give up goals. They're going to score goals as well. And so eventually you get yourself into a 2-2 situation. Just as a side note, you got Sorloth, who just scored a goal. Now, didn't get very involved in the first half, scores a goal with his last touch of the first half, and then your decision, if you are Diego Simeone, is to take him off at halftime. I'm just saying.
Don gave him a call.
Unless there's an injury, and if that's the case, then I apologize, Diego Simeone, but the truth is that if Sorloth is not injured, what kind of message are you sending? Your center forward just scored a center forward goal, and you take him off the field.
You know, it might be a little early in the season to say this, but for Atletico Madrid to be challenging for the title, they have to take advantage of any slip-up from Madrid and from Barcelona. And already, in Game 1, they get an opportunity to get something over Madrid, and they can't do it. I mean, you're not going to win the title unless you take your opportunities when they come, and they might not come that often.
Alex is with us. Alex, are you surprised how open that first half was?
Yeah, not what we're used to seeing, is it, from a classic Diego Simeone team? But as the guys have been saying, this Atletico Madrid haven't really been sort of classic Simeone for a little while now. I think a result like this, a 2-2 draw away from home, away at Villarreal, a good team, a team that will be pushing for European football, maybe even top 4 this season, is a pretty good result when you take into account the fact this is an Atletico Madrid side that are in the middle of pretty major reconstruction. You know, there's a big rebuild going on there. There's summer right the way through the spine of the team. You've talked about Sorloth and Alvarez, Conor Gallagher coming in, and Normand there at the back. This is going to be a new team, and it's not quite there yet. You know, Julian Alvarez not ready to start. They're bringing in Conor Gallagher hopefully the next couple of days after that transfer got delayed, as we'll go on to talk about. So there's a lot of work to be done from Simeone and his staff on the coaching, on the training ground. That's reflected, I think, in what we saw out there on the pitch. But despite that, like I say, for me, given the circumstances, given the opposition, given it's the opening day of the season, a draw away from home at Villarreal with the team how it is right now, not too bad a result at all, especially, like I say, yeah, look around. Look at the other results this weekend. They're not the only ones to draw points, far from it.
What was interesting, I thought, Ian, I'm not sure if you saw this before the start of the game, some of the Atleti board and Simeone were doing somersaults, celebrating. It was quite the sight, because they were thinking, finally, we've got rid of Joao Felix. He is off our books, as it looks like he is indeed heading back to London. Chelsea signing him on a long-term deal. From the outside looking in, and you've seen a lot of him throughout the seasons, be it at Chelsea or Barcelona, Ian, this is a real head-scratcher, isn't it?
It is, really. I mean, he didn't do too badly in his first spell with Chelsea, but when you go back and think of him as a teenager, he was the wonder boy with that huge, huge fee, which was a big, big millstone around his neck. I mean, he does have talent, but it's a kind of maverick talent that coaches haven't trusted, really. Chelsea obviously want him. He'll be their 44th player in the squad. I mean, it is quite ridiculous what's going on at Chelsea. So he arrives. Conor Gallagher has been treated really shabbily. So I'm glad he's got his move to Atleti. And let's see how that goes. But Felix, who knows? I think he wants to come to London. Let's see if he shines in London. Let's see if he gets in the team. Presumably he does.
Well, lots of people want to go to London, don't they, Alex? Not a lot of people get the opportunity to do so on a nice big contract. Atleti must be feeling like they've won a watch.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic news for Atletico Madrid. The biggest thing for them, one of the biggest things this summer, was finding a solution to the Joao Felix problem, and it not being another temporary solution. That's the thing. We've seen that, haven't we? With the loan at Chelsea, with the loan at Barcelona. He kept going away. He kept coming back, and they didn't want him here. And Diego Simeone didn't want him here either. They wanted a permanent deal, and it looks like with Chelsea, they've got it here. So that's the best news. It's done. Whatever they get in terms of a fee, and there's some talk, it could be a substantial fee, some talk of anything up to 60 million, something like that. I don't know the details of that, but if that is the case, as you say, they'll be punching the air because he's sorted. He moves on. Good luck to him. He never really quite fitted into Atletico, to the team culture, to the way that Simeone wants to play. It didn't happen. It's a shame because, as Ian says, we all know the talent is there. It's always been there. It's never been applied consistently. And if this is sort of the end of Joao Felix's Atletico Madrid career, which it looks like it is, that's great news for everybody concerned. It's good news for him. It's good news for Atletico. They can finally move on. And if in the process they've managed to sort of unblock this Conor Gallagher situation, which looked like falling apart when the Samu deal collapsed, going the other way to Stamford Bridge, even better.
Am I missing something, Stevie? Am I in punter mode?
I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. 50. I could somehow understand it if they got him free, right? But to pay 50 million, I mean, Chelsea, whether it's on the field, off the field, there's absolutely nothing consistent about them at all. And there's nothing normal about them. And it seems like they just can't get out their own way. And of all of the daft things they've done, this is just the cherry on the top. I mean, they need, anywhere on the field, other than Cole Palmer, they need to be bringing in players who they know what they're going to get.
Right.
At the very least. And if there's one thing about signing Joao Felix for 50 million, and goodness knows what his wages are, the one thing you can guarantee, you don't know what you're going to get. Complete madness.
I suppose Chelsea would argue, look, we get rid of Conor Gallagher and we get Joao Felix in return and we pay, 10 million? So maybe that, working the books, means it's not the end of the world.
Well, you are very optimistic, Dan. Yeah. And you're really trying to spin the story in a very positive manner. Now, let's just look at it from the perspective of positions of need for Chelsea. Men, they have a lot of wingers and underneath players and guys that are tweeners and are neither strikers nor winger types nor really attacking midfielders. And that's what Joao Felix is. Because if you ask the question, where does Joao Felix play? Well, he's an attacking player. Well, Chelsea have a lot of those guys. So they don't really need this sort of player. From Atletico Madrid's perspective, I have to imagine that while we're sitting here flabbergasted by Chelsea pulling the trigger on this deal, Atletico Madrid, once they closed the door and they got the phone call done and the deal was done, they're like, can you believe we did this? We pulled this off? How did we do this? How did we manage to work this out and to actually convince this team that doesn't need this player to pay us to get this player and to pay us a whole chunk of money? For Atletico Madrid, it's a big win. Yeah. For Chelsea, it's surplus. And they have plenty of that.
Conor Gallagher walks straight into this team, does he, Alex?
I think he's got a lot of the qualities that Simeone likes in a play. What a good engine he's got, how hard-working he is. I think he's quite smart tactically. And it's one thing this Atletico Madrid midfield have maybe lacked a little bit in the last couple of years. They've got good midfield players there, but someone like Koke not getting any younger, maybe not quite got the legs. I think Conor Gallagher in there will add something to this team, a little bit of bite, like I say, covering a lot of ground. I think he's the kind of player that Simeone could really like, and maybe the kind of player that Atleti have lacked since Saul really went off the boil a few years ago and just never really recovered his form. I think Conor Gallagher potentially, in the ideal scenario, is a similar kind of player to what peak Saul Niguez was for Atletico.